I am delighted to welcome in the studio Vincent. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Paul.
Yeah.
How are you?
He says 30 years old.
Right.
Yeah. And lawyer. Yeah, you and I have many things in common. Today you pray for us. That is Francis Javier Sosu, who is the Member of Parliament for the Medina constituency, and the two of them take their seats. So let me start with you, Vincent. Your final comments on your first weeks in Parliament. How was day one?
Well,
what happened?
It was revealing, and what I saw was not what I really expected.
Why did you get to Parliament so early? Or was it the NDC that got there early?
The NDC got there, I think, around 7 p.m. 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.
Occupied
the majority side of Parliament.
Yeah.
Well, that was their strategy. Well, one way or the other, I think it worked for them. It went for them. But the most important thing is that what I saw in Parliament was not what I expected. I thought that within an hour, we would have finished voting for the Speaker of Parliament, and we would just leave. There's one thing that I felt happened that day, that probably because of inexperience, especially on my part, because ordinarily I should have stood to make that point. Now, when we say secret voting can be defined in any way. You see, the NDC said that the
secret ballot, it says.
Secret ballot. Mm-hmm. The NDC made a point that the Asen, is it Asen Fusu?
Asen North.
Asen North,
MP or
Member of Parliament, could vote and face consequences thereof if he so wishes. Now, the point I ask is, Paul, can't I also be allowed to vote in a way that I want if it is at variance with the constitutional duty of voting secretly and faces the consequences thereof if I want?
When we have the opportunity to prevent you.
Because they read a certain article, I think Article 111 or so, the Clerk of Parliament, that's the chairman.
Voting shall be by secret ballot.
And the person who is doing so, and if the person thinks that what he is doing is at variance with the law and proceeds to do that, will face the law or
will face the consequences.
Will face the consequences. The point I'm trying to make is that I could have also voted in a way that I wanted and face the consequences.
By writing it and showing it to other
people.
Yes,
if there is any consequences thereof. But you see, at the time, there was a certain kind of blackmail because we needed a president. A president would have to be sworn in on that 7th of January. And our brothers from the other side knew what was at stake.
Sworn in the evening of the 7th.
I know, but you see, we had special visitors from other countries who were here. COVID-19, certain arrangements have been made. A lot of people sat in their rooms watching TV just to know what was happening. And for that matter, we needed to make sure that there were some concessions.
But you still
I'm sure that if today some of us wouldn't have agreed.
You still lost them.
Yeah, we did. But
on the numbers.
On the numbers, we did.
It means that one of your people voted the other way.
It is also possible that some of them also voted for us, and maybe more than 2 or 3 voted for.
Okay, so maybe 5 of you voted for them, and 3 of them voted for you.
It is possible.
Okay.
It is possible.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Professor Adom-Otchere because I was sponsored by the party when I was running for the election. In fact, at the time that I was filing with the Electoral Commission, I did not pay for my party filing. It was a New Patriotic Party that paid the amount of money on my behalf. Now, the New Patriotic Party leadership goes for National Council meeting and decides on Professor Adom-Otchere. On what basis do I have to get into the ballot box, aside any personal issues that I might have with Professor Adom-Otchere, and vote against him because of my own personal interest? The party's interest was supposed to reign, and that is exactly what some of us did. Unfortunately, we were so disappointed that it happened that way. But hey, Right Honorable Speaker Al-Bang-Babin, he started this job in 1992. An experienced and a fantastic lawmaker. In fact, what we are seeing on the floor of Parliament, we are learning so much. He is a father indeed. And I am not so much disappointed, even though what I wanted didn't come to pass. But I'm happy to also learn from the Right Honorable Speaker, and the kind of moderation that he's having in Parliament is something that for first-timers like us, we should be able to learn from it. And so it was quite disappointing, but hey, we've moved on. We've also given them a bit of what they showed us in the 7th of January, especially when we voted about 30 of their people. 30
voting for your ministerial nominees.
Voting for us. It tells you that Parliament has gotten to a place whereby, yes, there might be consensus, but people will be voting based on what they think is right. If that is the kind of democracy that we are going to practice, then I think that Ghana is heading to a place that the future generation should also be learning from some of these things. The straitjacket thing probably sometimes do not so much help us, but if that is the point that we are heading, I think that it is good for our country.
Honorable Sosu, what do you have? See you at the final word.
Well,
you kicked the ballot box on that day.
Well, no,
like
no. I think it was someone else. So even though I was involved in a lot.
You were only one of those who came.
Yeah, but I was very much involved.
You were the referee.
I was conducting the choir and doing a lot of work in and around. Of course, because Parliament is the people's house. I go to Parliament carrying along about 200,000 people from Madina, and the people expect certain, will I say, disposition when it comes to your performance on the floor of Parliament. And like he rightly said, what happened on Parliament on that day was completely unexpected. I mean, I didn't expect anything like that.
Are you sure?
The reasons for the NDC going there very early is not necessarily to have any particular game plan, because we believe that as at that time we didn't have any party with majority, and that's the truth. As we speak now, we don't have a party with a majority in Parliament. What we have is NDC 137, NPP 137, and an independent who has opted to work with the NPP. So we call them the majority group.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and that's the reason why we have the majority leader, because they now form a group.
Yeah, okay.
And we are the minority group, and that's why we still have a minority leader. So on that day, we could sit anywhere, and that was why we sat where we sat, and it was absolutely right that we did that. Now, secondly, with the election of speaker, the law requires a secret ballot. And you have people on the other side trying to violate the law. And you know that if someone is breaking the law in your view, you have a right to prevent the commission of that crime. And that was exactly what we're doing. And on this occasion, it wasn't any law that was being breached. It was the Constitution. You were undermining the authority.
You believe that secret ballot should be a ballot that no one can see what you.
That is what it means.
What you are voting.
Yes, and that is what the Constitution.
Is that
requires.
how you guys voted for the vet?
Absolutely.
Nominees? Yeah. Okay.
And that was why. We on this occasion are the casualties. And I say we had a casualty because that was part of our appointment committee, and people were recommended for the floor, hoping that even if everybody on your side were going by with you, they would have voted. Either if your vote would not necessarily reject the person, you would have seen all your 137 votes in a particular direction.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen as we speak now. You can't tell who did what because of the secrecy of the ballot.
So the insisting on the procedure of secret ballot
very important.
has come back to haunt the NDC.
No, it has. But it advances the cause of the Constitution and the rule of law. And for me, it is very, very important. At the end of the day,
so you still insist that every vote,
it must be secret ballot, because that is what the
way in which you pass the budget.
That's what the Constitution requires, and that's why it must be. And I believe that if people decide on any day to decide to have loyalty to a particular cause in respect of any vote, it must show in the total number of votes that come out. That's what I believe. So that on our side, those who were with us as appointment committee, if they had agreed with that position and really want to go by that position, I'm sure that they would have returned a verdict of 137 and maybe 138 in favor of whoever was winning. Then we could say that they pushed our position. On that occasion, some did not push our position. It's hurtful. In fact, it hurt our grassroots, and many were displeased But that
Why
was
did
what
your grassroots want some people rejected? What's the
No, I think it's very obvious. For example, you have people, it's an expected outburst, except that you must know how to manage it. If you have people, some of your branch executives or people who were police station executives get killed during election violence, and they believe that the only political leader that should be held responsible may be the political leaders in charge of security and so on and so forth. And they see them pass through the process, and they know that there are people are on the committee and could have prevented or could do something to stop them. If that is what they expect and they don't see it, they have that right to burst out and say why, except that it means that there is an added obligation on our leadership to re-engage and say that this and this might be the legal reasons why things happen the way they did, and that there will be other ways we could still hold people accountable for infractions that occurred. So I think it's a very legitimate concern. We can't blame anybody for that. What we have to do is to assume leadership. And for me, being a leader means that sometimes you need to take responsibility of your inaction so that you can correct them moving forward. So I believe that it's been so far so good. We are trusting that for God and Ghana, we will continue to work. And we want to assure our base that they should continue to have confidence. It doesn't matter the challenges. There may be times that we may get down. We may not win all the time. We'll win some, we'll lose some. But that is the beauty of democracy. So let's strengthen our base. Let's follow our leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has provided the necessary leadership after the Supreme Court decision, so that we rally around and make sure that we win 2024 convincingly. So we'll be working today by keeping an eye on the ball.